Hello and welcome to the Temple of Tomes with your host, Indie Comics Jones. Today is March 24th, 2021. This is episode 240. Okay, we're looking at Carnage, Black, White, and Blood. This is number one from Marvel, and it came in at $4.99. And the cover is kind of ribbed for your pleasure. It's got this wave to it. I don't know if you can see it or not. Try to flatten that out. This is more like an anthology. I think it's kind of on the... they're going after the same audience that bought maybe Batman, Black and White, those type of things. But they've gone with Black, White, and Blood. Now, any graphic designer will tell you that using a lot of red especially, is an irritant to the eye. And this thing is very irritating almost throughout. The three stories that are mentioned in here are, well, let's just say, to me, they don't appear to be in canon. And we'll go through that in a little bit. Looking at the cover, we've got this very grotesque looking Carnage. I'm not sure if that's the way he's supposed to be. I don't think I've ever seen it portrayed quite this way. There was a variant cover as well. And let's take a look inside. This is the first time I bought one of these Black, White, and Reds. I don't know if there was Black, White, and Blood, excuse me. So I don't know if this is how they typically are. We've got three stories, like I mentioned. The first one is called Love Story. That's by Tini Howard, the writer. Ken Lashley is the artist, and Juan Fernandez is the color artist. Next one is End of the Trail. Benjamin Percy is the writer. Sarah Pichelli is the artist, and Mattia Iacono is the colorist. And finally, You Are Carnage by Al Ewing. The penciler was John McRae, and the color artist is Mattia Iacona. The letterer for all of these was VC's Joe Sabino. Okay, and our cover artist is Sarah Pichelli and Mattia Iacano. So let's take another quick look at that cover. Like I said, the cover really didn't do much for me. It looks more like a horror type comic than a superhero. But Carnage is our pal, right? He's one of the symbiotes that came out of, I believe came out of Venom, if I've got that right. He's one of the spawns of Venom. And he melded with a serial killer. So that's kind of his modus operandi, is he likes to kill a lot. And we start off, I just want to mention like two of the stories, Love Story and End of the Trail, are both don't seem to be in canon, okay? Because my understanding is Carnage is a fairly new character. His presence was not back in time, so to speak. So like Love Story has a flashback to Carnage, and it's in the Iron Age. End of the Trail has the full story takes place in the Old West. And so both of those seem out of canon for this. And maybe, that's part of what Black, White, and Blood is all about, is they just go at it and destroy canon, or just change canon, or do whatever they want with the characters. I'm not sure how that's supposed to work out. But the first one is called Love Story, and is Tini Howard's writing on this. Now, this story, I read it 3 times, and I'm still don't get it. I'm still not sure what they're showing. That Carnage's light or love will be greater than the light that hurts him. I'm not sure, because the love of his life apparently is Shriek. And the last comic I read, almost last one, was called Scream. And Scream came up against the Demogoblin, which is Shriek with her spine torn out, and her body now is being used as a vessel for the Demogoblin demon, and that was all done by Carnage. So they call this a love story, so I'm not sure what the love is on that. If he just got sick of Shriek or what, but I don't know. So it's very confusing all in all. It looks like Carnage has been battling everybody in New York City. It says it's a few years ago or years ago. And then he starts having these flashbacks during his battle with Cloak about, this is the Iron Age storyline, how there's one warrior that was victorious through it all, and he goes to the city to grab his spoils, I guess, of war. In the meantime, there's another, and the other people are joining the battle in New York City. Well, Carnage kind of goes on with this. This was very confusing to me. You can see his flashback. Someone's kicking through the door. This lone warrior. He comes up against this. He finds like one woman there. She's holding what appears to be a baby. When he grabs the baby, he says, "What is this?" And the woman says, "It is ours." And then we get Shriek suddenly popping in here, and noticing, I guess she recognizes that Carnage is being fought. So what we get is, in the old passage here, the flashback, the baby suddenly turns into Carnage and envelops this crazed warrior that wants to kill and just pillage and whatever. And so supposedly that's where so it's out of canon. It's totally out of canon. It is confusing too, the whole love story here. Then Carnage and Shriek are able to have their moment during this battle in New York, and there's a group of supervillains coming up against a group of what do you want to call them? Heroes. So we've got, as best I could tell, this is Demi-Goblin. That's, I don't know, Spider-Man. Carnage, Shriek, and then Hobgoblin. And then over here for the superhero side, we've got, I don't know who this character is. I couldn't figure him out. Like, obviously Captain America, Spider-Man, Cloak, and Dagger is also in it, and she makes her appearance here, and she looks really good. She's drawn really well. So we get some nice drawings in here, but that's about it for the story. It just kind of didn't click with me, and that was the end of it. It just kind of ends. There's no final battle between, it's just the love between these, but I know in the other Scream issue that Carnage has ripped out the spine of Shriek and put his own demon in there, the Demi-Goblin, this guy here, inside her. So I don't know. I don't know what to make of this story. So it's part of the whole not recommend for this book. This story was actually pretty good, but it is out of canon, and it's about this lone sheriff trying to hunt down this killer, and this killer is just non-stopping, and it appears to have a special vengeance for lawmen in general. So it totally takes down a full town. Then it gets on a train and it kills all the inhabitants on the train. And he's able to track it to this cave where he has this gun battle with it. It's a one-way gun battle with what appears to be Carnage. And he ends up losing this fight, as Carnage does, I guess, likes his aggressiveness, his not the way he doesn't give up, his ferociousness in battle. So he takes over his body basically and puts the sheriff's star on, and now he's the new sheriff in town, as we see him riding off into the beast that he has transformed as well. And that's the end of that story. So that story was okay. And our final story is the Al Ewing one, and I guess it's set up like a dice rolling game. I guess use a 6-sided dice. I really didn't think the storyline was that great or anything. What they've got is this police chief has gotten a volunteer to take on the Carnage's symbiote to see if he can control it. And depending on the throw of your dice will show how much control points you have. So you have all these different scenarios, and depending on how many control points you go to different panels. They have a bank robber here, and the robbery is taking place from these animal mutants. And there's all kinds of... The drawing in is actually pretty good. I kind of enjoyed looking at the drawing. But the storyline itself is nothing really that fantastic. So you either end up at the end of this game looking like this, where the human has been completely absorbed and thrashed and is gone, or you end up like this. So that's the end. So you got your end there or your end there, depending on how your dice roll. Now, I don't know if the game really works. I didn't do it with the dice. I just kind of read it straight through. And it might be pretty clever, but it was just kind of irritating to me at this point, just looking at all this red, and I was done. So it is a not recommend. They say there is going to be another issue of Carnage, Black, White, and Blood. I'm assuming this is number 2 coming out in April. So if you did like what you saw here, you have that to look forward to as well. That cover actually looks a lot better than this one, I must say. This looks like some kind of possum head. I don't know. Okay. And then we have Way of X #1 coming out in April as well, with Cy Spurrier on that, doing the writing for it. And no, they didn't do this as a misprint. It is actually Down Upside Turn is World Hole Drew's Jessica, Woman Spider. 11 number. Okay, so you want to look at it that way? Is that better? I don't know. Anywho, thanks for stopping by and listening to this review. It is a not recommend, unfortunately. I was kind of disappointed by that. Because like I said, I don't go out to buy books that I'm not going to like. I thought I might like this, but I didn't. As far as Teenie Howard goes, boy, this one was called Love Story. Actually, I read another story by hers. It was part of the King in Black. It was one event, and it was called Wiccan and Hulkling. And that was truly a love story. Not this one. It's almost like she flipped the ideas. The other one lacked the action and everything else. To me, it was just kind of this love story when I was expecting a King in Black event. So I gave that one a not recommend. Perhaps if she would have put more of this action and whatnot into that story, it would have been better. And then take that love story and put it in this, it would have made more sense to me. But I also do like one of Teenie Howard's stories. She is writing the backup story for the Vault comic Vampire, the Masquerade. She writes the Anarch Tales, which is the backup story to Winter's Teeth. So that one I've been liking a lot. I think I've gotten through the first 6 issues. So anyway, thanks for stopping by. Thanks for listening to my review. Please like, please subscribe, please leave comments if you haven't, and we'll see you next time at the Temple of the Tomes. As always, this is Indie Comics Jones bidding you adieu.